Good evening, everybody. This is the voice of Agrode. It is March 6th. It is 8 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. And we're here with you live for another Splinterlands Town Hall. I'm your host, Agrode. I'm the founder and CEO of Splinterlands. And it is my pleasure to go host this extravaganza, this glorious evening where we get to go tell you all of the updates that we're working on, all the different pieces of the game, all the feedback that we've gotten, and we try to morph that into one good message to go deliver to you guys. And taking some of your questions, some of the questions that you've already given us, some of the questions that you make up on the spot, and we just try to get you all kinds of goodies here. We're gonna have a pretty fun show. We got a couple special guests, and we have some of the regulars here. It's a mix, but today is it's exciting. We have a small release tomorrow, and we'll have next week is sort of the end of our PI quarter. So we've done a lot of planning. We put together 5 sprints. The end of the 5th sprint is not this coming Tuesday, but the one after. And it really is like a whole quarter of our life down behind us. And we probably need to go talk about all the things that we've accomplished. I know that there's oftentimes people concerned with how much we've gotten done and how much code is released and how many new features there are and what's gone live. But I got to tell you, there's been a lot of work, a lot of stuff that's gone out. And I don't know, it's probably time to summarize some of what we've done and share all that. And then it's also important to note that not this Wednesday and this Thursday, but the following Wednesday and Thursday is when we are deep into our next planning session. So we're all going to kind of put our heads down and try to figure out for the next planning quarter. It's not a full business quarter, but really just a planning quarter. What are we going to get done over the next 5 sprints? And I told our designer that we need to focus on getting really good visuals out shortly thereafter. So I know that you guys would like to see a new visual, but I'm going to wait until after the planning because that's going to tell you better than anything else when we're expecting to get what done. So we'll have that out pretty soon. I'm hoping that that'll be by the end of the month, and you guys will see sort of an updated roadmap and an updated calendar of when we think things will get done. So there's a lot going on. It feels good to get sort of one of our first real agile quarter behind us and feeling good about it. So with that said, let's bring on the team. Let's go talk about what we're going to get done or what we're going to be talking about this evening. So Cryptomancer, then WeirdBeard, then Investigator, then Nate. Do you guys want to kind of talk us through just briefly what you're here to discuss this evening?
Howdy, folks. I'll be talking about some small miscellaneous tournament updates.
I can be talking about some of our awesome tournaments that we're looking at running in the next month or so, piggybacking on some of the stuff that Cryptomancer is also updating, and the future of tournaments and where we're hoping to take it.
And I will be talking about the update that's coming out tomorrow, as I do every week.
Is it my turn? I'm gonna I've already got a few requests, it looks like, in the chat. So who knows? Maybe I will fulfill people's dreams there. So we'll see.
Nate, I thought that gopher that got posted where it's just shouting Nate was pretty funny. Man. Did that make you smile at all?
No, it's gonna haunt my dreams, actually.
That sadistically makes you like it even more. Okay, so we have 2 special guests this evening. First, we're going to have Tyler from Nifty Arcade. Maybe you guys recognize that name. You're certainly going to recognize the personality. This guy is just electric. And then we also have Dave McCoy, and he'll be talking some too. So those are our 2 guests. And right now, we got Tyler. Tyler, who are you, and what are you here to talk about?
Agrode, so excited to be here. Splinterlands in 2023. What a beautiful place to be. What a beautiful community. Excited to be here, guys, to chat about Nifty Arcade. A lot of you have heard about Nifty Arcade. Some of you may have not. We built a platform for reward share so lenders can come on and put decks up for rent of Splinterlands cards, and then people can come and borrow those. Also some other features like portfolio visualization, but really excited to be here with you guys today.
Rock on. All right. So we had a little bit of controversy not that long ago, and we had some concerns around bots. So I think before we go on to the cool, new, awesome stuff, maybe we should go talk a little bit about like the bot situation, what you have planned, what you've worked out with some of the bot operators, and just go from there.
Absolutely. So we actually had a lot of good come out of that expose, if you will. Monster Veritas published an article for which we're actually grateful, and I'll kind of dive into what happened a little bit. So we had an algorithm that we used to catch mass bot farming, right? To catch kind of big exploiters across multiple accounts. But there was some low-hanging fruit that we'd missed. And super grateful to Monster Veritas for helping us be able to identify bots more effectively. We immediately sprung into action. And just so everybody here knows, my wife had given birth not a few hours before we dove in and fixed this issue. So we care a lot about this community. We care a lot about the game. We banned, I think the number was 23 exploiters from our platform, and really got on top of it. And the good news is not only were we able to do that and enhance our own detection algorithms, all of the big Splinterlands bot providers actually reached out to me and said, Tyler, listen, we want to help you identify bots on your platform. We want to help to make sure that bots can't abuse decks being put on there. So we're actually working directly with bot providers to provide them of the addresses of people borrowing so that they're not even able to use bots while borrowing a deck on our platform. And I got to say, the Splinterlands community is something else, right? Because in a normal game, bots are something very evil and hidden, right? But it's very interesting how the decentralized, this decentralized protocol where you have people out in the open and saying, hey, listen, I provide this service. I want to work together with you to solve problems. It's incredible. These people reached out to me and said, hey, we want to help you solve this problem. And I got to be honest with you, I could not be more grateful for the experience, because we've now built a better, more secure platform because of this experience and with help from the community.
Yeah, that to me was pretty amazing. I was not expecting that, but it just goes to show that, I know bots can be seen as exploitive, but it doesn't seem like these are the worst people in the world running this to ruin this entire environment. And you can see that there is some humanity in this, and that and trying to help with this mission. I think that they see it for themselves too, that it's in their long-term best interest to make sure that some of these services are benefit everybody in this game, and where it's appropriate to ban bots, we ban bots, and they're with us on that. I think it's awesome.
I have to agree with you. And I think the last point on that is I think it's phenomenal that they have the future of the ecosystem in mind when they make these decisions, right? These are people who are contributors to the ecosystem and want to see the game exceed expectations, and they're willing to do what it takes. They're willing to do, and to be frank here, guys, they're really the heroes in this situation, because they have nothing to gain from helping me here. They have nothing to gain except putting a little time of their own time and effort into helping us fight bots. And I got to be honest with you, I'm so grateful for people in this community. It's incredible how we can band together and solve problems. I mean, sometimes there's a lot of crap and sometimes there's negativity, but I think we have to recognize there are some fantastic people here willing to lend a hand and willing to solve problems to make this ecosystem better. It's really incredible what you guys have built.
So let's move on. I think you're here in part to go showcase kind of a technological improvement. So maybe there's something here on the screen that you want to showcase or demonstrate for us.
Absolutely. Just real quick, something that I wanted some of the larger asset holders in the community to be aware of. This is something that we've had for a while, but it's not very well known. We're known for the reward share, which I'm extremely excited about. But something that we've also done is we've created a mechanism for asset owners to be able to see what they own in the ecosystem, right, over time. And some good news for you, cards are actually at a high since November. So that's super exciting. You can see we have this little graph here, and this is the value of a collection that we manage for a large asset holder. And if we started tracking data at the beginning of November, cards are at an all-time high, above what they were in November. So holla, Awesome market, right? Super excited to be here during this time. But at the end of the day, what we've built is this tool to allow people to actually see the value of their assets in the ecosystem over time and what they've earned. I don't want to take too much time, but just want people to be aware that if you're a large asset owner and you have a hard time managing multiple accounts all at once, you can track any address all at the same time, and you can see the value of all those addresses in aggregate at the same time. Pretty cool tool.
Yeah, if you have assets in lots of different accounts, and I know many of you do, this is one of the best ways to get sort of like a single glance and say, how much is all my Splinterlands stuff worth? I don't know many tools that help do this, but this one does it, and it does it for multiple accounts and can give you like a real nice sense of everything all in one screenshot. And I think it's pretty handy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about bots. Did we cover everything that you wanted to talk about for the technology? Is there anything else you want to showcase for the tech?
That's it. Thank you.
All right. And then the next part is really about onboarding. So, you know, one of the reasons that I am so excited about Nifty is your ability and capacity to go onboard groups of people into this ecosystem. So do you want to share with me some of what that does? And I guess I should mention, Genepool is saying that Splex.gg has an accounts feature. So I haven't used that, but maybe that's something that people can look for too. But pardon me for that. Can you kind of talk to me about onboarding and how we're getting new users into the ecosystem through Nifty Arcade? Like, what have you done and what's up next?
Absolutely. So one of the key next steps in onboarding players. So we have relationships with player organizations that were, you know, previously called guilds, or I like to say guilds, right? But, you know, these organizations of players, these communities of players that want games to play, that want to jump in and play Web3 games and own things, right? And the opportunity that sits in front of us now is that Splinterlands is providing an opportunity to onboard hundreds and thousands of new players into the game to get really to whet their appetite for the ecosystem. And so the going theory, Agrod, is that based on some performance that we're seeing on the platform, borrowers coming into the ecosystem and borrowing on the platform are spending, right? They're buying credits, they're buying potions, they're buying packs. And something that's really interesting is if we can whet somebody's appetite by getting them into the game, getting them playing competitively, getting them experiencing what it is to play Splinterlands, why can't we get them to purchase? And so the idea is that if we can bring in all of these player communities, Metanomy, Morpheus, IndieGG, Metaverse Go, Japan, right? That these, we can ideally convert anywhere from 1 to 10% of players within these communities and turn them into paying Splinterlands customers. That's the idea. And if we can do that, that's a fantastic way to grow the ecosystem. And something that we're doing is working with these player organizations. So we've signed partnerships with Metanomy and Morpheus. Metanomy is as we speak, starting to onboard their players. Morpheus, we're still waiting for them to onboard. We have to do an AMA with their community first. And the one that I'm very excited about is an organization called IndieGG. IndieGG was a sub-DAO of YGG, for everybody that's familiar with YGG. And they say they have 600,000 players. They saw the platform and they saw its ability to get players within their ecosystem able to play Splinterlands, and they were ravenous. They're so excited that they scheduled a meeting with Splinterlands this week. I'm not sure if they're meeting with you, Agrod, but they're meeting with someone at Splinterlands this week as we speak to start working on how they can get their players into the ecosystem via this tool. So with a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, we can bring in a lot of players through this mechanism, and we're seeing some early signs of success with these player organizations. And it should be mentioned that IndieGG just received $20 million in an acquisition. So pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if these guilds start turning into large paying customers and we start onboarding them, you know, there's huge groups of people, and you know, a lot of them get reluctant about, should we spend any money? They don't want to like pull the trigger. They get nervous. They get anxious. Was the market timing right? What are all the pieces here? And Nifty seems like it can just remove a lot of barriers to all that. You know, like none of that matters. Just try this game out for free. Get some of your most active or interested players in here. Let's see how it goes. And pending feedback, let's see how we can work with your guild more and more. So I think that's a big win. And you know, especially if we start bringing in some of these other larger guilds, that's exactly why I thought, you know, we need these we need a lot of decks. We need to get them inside the Nifty Arcade platform, and we got to start onboarding. And I think you guys have really done a nice job taking it from there and trying to recruit all these guilds onto the platform. And I'm excited to see them keep rolling out and to see this growing over time.
Thank you. And my plea to the community would be, hey, if anybody's got contacts for player orgs, if anyone wants to see how they can help bring new players into the ecosystem, hit me up. Let's talk to these organizations. We're doing all kinds of outreach to 60 plus guilds by now, and hoping to get as many as we can in our pipeline so that we can take this game and this technology to anyone and everyone that wants to bring their players in.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. All right, Tyler, anything else you want to leave the audience with?
No, thank you guys so much for your time. Thanks for the support. Big shout out to the bot providers. You guys are awesome. Awesome community. Thanks so much for having me, Agrod.
Yeah. Hey, just one more thing. Please congratulate your wife. Many blessings to your beautiful baby, and our gratitude as a community that you could go help us when even in your family trying time. So thank you
so much. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys.
Rock on. All right. So that was Tyler. That was Nifty Arcade. We got kind of like another OG that we need to go bring on here. Somebody else that I think is you guys know, you guys love, you guys elected him. He's one of your community council members. He's a gentleman by the name of Dave McCoy. Dave, I think this is your first time actually speaking on the show. Is that accurate?
That's correct. First time ever, and I'm honored because I have the rusty Android skin. So
yeah,
big thanks to Rondon for that.
Yeah, Ron, I was very amused. I don't know what prompted it, but it's hilarious. Okay, so what are you here to talk about? What's going on, Dave?
We have a proposal that's coming out, and first, I know all the community leaders would be we're all appreciative of the fact that people took the time to vote and to elect the community leader platform. And so what we've been doing is we've been trying to see if we can make an impact in various ways. And one of the first ways is something that's relatively time sensitive, which is the proposal that got turned down. It had more than 50% vote, but it fell just shy. And what we did is we essentially took that proposal and tried to make it better. And that's regarding the spending of SPS to get exchange listings.
So can you tell me, like, are you just going to bring back the exact same thing, or how did the community leaders go about trying to take a proposal that didn't pass and massage it into something that you think might get support? Was that, did you just do that on your own as a community leader, or what did that process look like?
What we did was we tried to break down what were the issues. Obviously everybody's different, but there's certain common things that, we felt were issues. Some of them were educational in nature. And so, we feel there's a need to have more education. For instance, what does an exchange do and how is that going to benefit us? So we're going to have a conference call with WeirdBeard and hopefully with you, Aggie, and Matt and Allie, who, by the way, is incredible. And, stuff like that, for the people that don't know, for the people in the 44% that didn't vote for it, it's a good way for them to ask questions and try to understand, what's the value of this. The second thing we did is we tried to come up with the objections. I had a few objections. I had heard from others that had objections. And I would say they really kind of broke down into two main groups. One was the cost. We want to make sure that we address the cost and that, it's a big chunk of money. And we want to make sure that if we're going to spend that kind of money, that it was prudent to do so. And the other objective is make sure the game can handle the influx. In other words, if we bring a whole lot of new players in as a result of this particular spend, is it going to be something that's going to be good for us? So, we spent the last 2 weeks really kind of hashing out that, trying to handle, the different objections that, we thought we had heard and through talking to various people. And so we're repackaging essentially the old proposal, but we're making some changes. For instance, instead of 20 million, it's going to be 30 million SPS. So you might say, well, geez, that sounds crazy that you would want to up it. But we also found out in the process that Coinbase and Binance weren't likely to get them at 20 million. So we have a better shot if it's 30 million. Plus we found out, and again, some of these things you guys, we can have in a separate call, but like some of the smaller exchanges to ramp up some of these local exchanges, like in the Philippines or Indonesia or places like that. I mean, those are pretty big wins, and Allie's very good at talking about stuff like that. And I would say, the biggest thing for me was that you guys, meaning the team, the Splinterlands team, came up with a way to make it a very low risk vote for us. In other words, instead of thinking about like, oh, we're going to lose 30 million SPS and what if it doesn't work? And oh my God, that's like a big chunk of our DAO right now. Is that a smart thing to do? We worked with you guys to come up with, a solution. And that solution is, that you guys agreed to come up with a future way to pay that back, whether it's successful or not. And that way is going to be simply more special sets like Rift Watchers in the future. So as each edition comes out, there's going to be a special mini edition that comes with it, and we'll be able to recoup the money that we're spending. So it's like we're taking a shot, but at the same token, we're that a good chunk of that 30 million SPS, if all of it is spent, even if we failed, we still have a nice opportunity to recoup it. So I think we just tried to hash throughout all the issues. We got 5 great people on there. Gene, Moriarty, Simshas, and Snigo. I mean, everybody takes it seriously, and we're pretty excited about putting this out. We should be able to put it out hopefully tomorrow. It will come out from the team, but it was what we kind of hashed out with you guys, and I hope it passes. I mean, we were at 56% last time, and I think between what the changes we made plus the meeting that we have sometime during the week for anybody who isn't or skeptical, I think we'll be in a position where we should hopefully get more than the 66% we need.
Yeah. Do you want to walk through just what are the next logistical steps that you think are going to happen?
Okay. When you say with the proposal or
with the proposal, right? So like we would do, it sounds like there's almost like an AMA or a town hall just for the proposal. And then after that, it would go either there's some revisions that pen from that, or I guess it would go back to the Peak Monsters and Splex early voting. And then after that, it would go onto the Splinterlands website for formal voting. Did I miss any steps there?
Yeah, well, actually, we're going to put it out tomorrow. Between Gene and WeirdBeard, they're working on actually getting the actual post out, so that starts at 7-day clock. We're going to have a special, I wouldn't say AMA, but a discussion about the issues that people have, and give people access to people who know more than they do. So if they have any questions, they can ask. Then after a week, so a week from tomorrow, then hopefully that initial part passes, and then it becomes an official proposal on the Splinterlands site, and hopefully it passes.
And then, so I think that covers the most of what we need to do for the exchange plan and process, because we're just sort of here to like talk about what's coming and just make sure that nobody gets blindsided. But is there anything else that you kind of want to add about this process, this post, or anything else that you want to give some flavor on?
I would say that I believe that I believe it's a good situation that we're in, because if you look at the pricing that we have is probably the best possible in the last few years, because crypto's down. So I think that's a major plus. I think that where we are as a team, or as a game, where, we got land on the verge of coming out within a month or so. That's going to be a tremendously exciting time. And this is going to take 1.5 to 2 months after it passes. So you figure 2 weeks to pass. So you're talking at least 2 months before we are going to see any kind of results from this. So it's actually, I think, going to fit pretty well with a lot of the other stuff we have coming. And, you know, sometimes the best time to do something is when it's the hardest, or when things are, you know, the weakest, because that's when your competition isn't. So in my opinion, this is it's a very good, you know, risk reward, especially by the way it was designed. So I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. And then while I have you here, I want to ask you just like a handful of questions about being a community leader and what that, you know, has that changed your life at all?
Yeah.
Do you get more people messaging you, less? Has it impacted you in any way?
Not really. I mean, I always got a lot of messages anyway, so I haven't really noticed that difference. But I do think it's an important process that we now have in place, because we get access to you guys. So, you know, if for instance, this particular subject came up, we were able to talk about it. We were able to talk to the different people we know, and frankly, we all touch different people. So we were able to kind of coalesce together and say, you know, what are the common issues? What are the things we need to do? For instance, in this case, you know, the player experience, the new player experience. I mean, that was one thing that was universal across all 5 guys, you know, from different parts of the world, you know, and we all had the same issue. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about things that are on the table. And so I think the leadership, you know, the process is really just a better organizational way to communicate between the team and the community. Not that you don't do the AMAs every week, but it sort of lets us get a little more focused than what you can do, you know, in generality.
And then during that process, did you feel like you were like in the driver's seat of that conversation, or do you feel like Splinterlands took the lead? How did the role of the community leaders, what did that feel like? Were you guys kind of driving that? Were we driving that?
No, it was definitely the 5 of us. I mean, you guys were there. I mean, and we could tag you and say, hey, Agrod, what do you think about this? You know, or here's an issue we would like to see you guys pay more attention to. For instance, the new player experience, and then you could reply back, well, here's what we're doing, and you know, blah blah blah. And you know, it wasn't you dictating to us at all. In fact, it was the 5 of us that were talking to each other, and then occasionally we would tag Allie or tag you or Chatter or somebody like that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, no, this is definitely it's great. You know, there's no power. You know, I know a lot of people were worried about whether this position was going to have any power or money attached to it, which it's none of that. I mean, basically, it's just 5 people that care and are trying to do their best to talk to the community, and you know, and try to get, you know, the best solution to any particular issue. So I think, like, for instance, in this case, this exchange listing is going to be, you know, 10 times better than what it was, only because we took the time and tried to figure out, you know, what could be better, what are some of the issues and how we can deal with them. And I would imagine the same thing's going to apply. The next thing on our agenda, is going to be, how do we replace ourselves? In other words, what's going to be the process next time to elect the next 5 guys? So to us, you know, we seem to think that's a pretty big issue as well. And it's just, you know, we won't know what the issues are. We just know that our job is, and I think everybody takes it seriously. Our job is to listen, you know, and try to relay the conversations out there.
Yeah, I imagine it morphs into the sort of like witness positions that come with elected leadership and SBS votes, and they fluctuate all the time and can change whenever. But you know, if that ends up being a different role than community leader, and there's actually a witness role and a community leader role, then we'll abide by that. You know, I'll work with whoever the community thinks is best to work with, and just try to continue to having open dialogue. It is helpful to have it, you know, not be the entire community all the time, and to have like a handful of people that can represent them. But I like that, you know, it's representative in like spirit rather than vote, you know, like having lawmakers or, you know, proposal guides or experts or community liaisons or leaders that help craft these things. But then, you know, it's not up to them to vote, but it's up to the whole community to decide. This feels like a lot better situation than what you find in, you know, your fiat governments, you know, where the representatives not only craft the law, but then they get to vote the law. And that could be like, I'm going to vote myself $1 million today. And they just get it because it's, you know, purely representative rather than like this stake weighted system. So
yeah, and we have a lot of people. I mean, it's the other thing that I would like to, like, I'm happy that I was honored, and I thank everybody that I got voted in. And I'm going to be thrilled to let the next 5 come, and then the next 5 after that. We have so many awesome people in this community. I mean, hopefully, you know, there's 50 more people minimum before I ever get back up again. You know, we just have a lot of people that I think care. And to me, that's what makes this community awesome.
Yeah, definitely passionate. All right, Dave. Well, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for you know, years of community leadership, whether or not it was recognized or not. It's frankly just years of community leadership. Thanks for being an OG. Thanks for playing our game. Thanks for giving me a hard time. You know, it's like, you know, these proposals that fail and then they come back and they pass, they are better. They are objectively better, you know? So it's having, you know, it kind of goes back to that idea that like all opinions are welcome, but not all deliveries are, you know, like give us your opinion, give us your criticism, tell us the things that you don't like. We do really try to be responsive to that. And I like this DAO system because now it's not all up to us. It's up to this whole community. And so far, I'm really impressed that the community has demanded the best from us. And I think it's working well. So
yep. Thank you. You know, it's great that you listen. And I say it a lot, and I've said it for a long time, but it's true. Most businesses, and I've been in different roles, you know, throughout my career, and some relatively good sized companies. I would say that you guys are head and shoulders above most companies I've ever seen, and that you actually do care what your people think. And, you know, you do a good job of listening to, you know, all the complaints and all the ways in which people can, you know, want to make it better. And you actually understand that even when people are salty, they care. So, you know, kudos to you. And I think that's one of the main reasons why you guys are so successful. So keep it up.
All right, Dave. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for keeping us in the loop on the proposals that are coming. And let's go see if we can't, as a community, figure out how to go get some exchange listings that will help this ecosystem grow.
Gotcha. Rock on.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
All right, see you.
All right. I think next up we're doing some Words with Wizards. So Investigator's here to kind of walk us through tomorrow's release, which is the smaller of our biweekly, or I guess we're doing releases on every Tuesday. This is supposed to be the smaller one, but even still, it feels like there's a bunch that's in here. And then Cryptomancer is going to go talk to us about some of the upcoming tournament changes, I believe. So Investigator, you want to kick that off and tell us what's going on?
Sure. So the big thing for tomorrow, which we've previously announced, is we're going to be adding the market listing fees. So anytime you list something on the market, it will be a 1 DEC or credit fee. We're also going to start the timer on market expirations. So starting from tomorrow, it's supposed to be 30 days, and then we will remove anything from the market that hasn't been sold or rented at all within the past 30 days. So if something gets rented, it'll stay on the market. It needs to have no activity basically for 30 days to come off.
Does that include just rental for a day? So even if somebody just picks it up for one afternoon and then drops a card, it still stays rentable?
Yep. If someone rents it for the minimum couple days, it will reset the timer on how long it's going to remain on the market.
Okay.
So that's the big tentpole item. we've got a lot of little stuff. There's a lot of stuff hot fixed out this week. There was a number of issues with seasonal rentals that we hot fixed. And that occasionally pulled in some other little fixes. The things that are actually going out tomorrow, there is still an issue with the calculation in days for season rentals, which will be fixed tomorrow. Right now, it is rounding the last day. So it does tell you how many days you're renting it for, but it's supposed to be through the end of the season. So if you rent with less than 12 hours left in the day, right now it's rounding down. That'll be fixed tomorrow. It'll always round up for a full day at the end of seasonal rentals. There is an issue on mobile devices or mobile-sized screens where the drag and drop open packs isn't working on the new Manuel display. That should be fixed. We are adding the functionality to distribute the Chaos Legion packs from a second holding account. So not just the store, since the proposal passed to set aside some Chaos Legion packs to continue to distribute. We'll be adding code to do that tomorrow. Couple minor fixes. We fixed the display name on the renter info, which is not displaying right now. And a couple of things we fixed during the week. There was a bad link on Gladiator packs. It wouldn't direct you. It wasn't clickable to the buy more Gladius packs. Didn't take you to the store. We fixed the link going to purchase dice packs on Hive Engine. The name of it is not Dice, it's SL Dice. So we fixed that. And there's a bunch of things that weren't returning rental type, which have been fixed throughout the past week. So all the season rental information should be coming back on all the different endpoints at this point. And the last thing, which is still up in the air because we're still working on it, is novice bots, which if we have it functioning tomorrow, we will roll out. If not, we'll push it another week. So with the changes to the leagues, we want to set up some bots for match liquidity and novice and stop pairing novice and bronze players. So actual novice players don't get rolled over by bronze bots that have better cards.
For the so that's this week. Do you know? Can you kind of give us a highlight of what might be coming next week? Do you have a glimpse of that yet?
A little bit. The SPS management page has a tech modernization version that's pretty far along, which hopefully will be fully QA'd for next week. The other item that I know of is what Cryptomancer is going to be talking about. So he's got a bunch of changes that should be coming out, I believe, next week. I think we'll probably have time to test them by then.
How's that for a perfect segue? Cryptomancer, do you want to go kind of talk us through what you're working on and what you're doing?
All right, sure. Hi, guys. So I don't really have a whole lot to talk about this week. I'm kind of in between major projects and been focusing more on some small, minor stuff lately. I'm looking at a basket of various tournament improvements. I've been working on some kind of behind-the-scenes stuff to improve the way we internally manage tournaments and kind of keep on top of what's going on. Can't really talk too much about that. Some more visible user-facing things that I'm working on include a small improvement to streamer mode. So right now, when you're using streamer mode and you look at the list of battles on the tournaments page, streamer mode means that you can't see the results of those battles until you view them. But when you're viewing the results and looking at them, the state of the icon, like showing whether you won or lost a battle, doesn't change. So it's kind of hard to keep track of which ones you've already watched and which ones you haven't. So I'm going to be changing the logic for that page a bit. So once you've watched a battle, you can actually see the outcome of the battle. So that's a small quality of life improvement for streamer mode. And then something maybe a little bit more interesting is I'm going to be making it so tournament creators can have packs put into escrow as tournament prizes. So until now, if you wanted to distribute packs as prizes, you had to do it as a custom prize, and then the tournament creator had to manually send those packs out to all the winners afterwards, which is a bit awkward, and then people have to follow up with the tournament creators and whatnot. So we're going to be making it so that you can have packs automatically distributed as prizes, just like you can for the other fungible tokens like SPS and DEC and stuff. So that'll be convenient for having a wider variety of different prize payouts for tournaments. So it's little stuff like that that I'm working on for now. And as far as longer term stuff, it's not completely decided yet what my next really, really major project is going to be. Potentially, I'm going to be working on some new guild buildings and other new features for guilds. I have a meeting with Yabatmat a bit later this week to talk about possibilities there. So we'll see how that shakes out. And
Yeah,
that's about it for me.
I had submitted to him at least one guild building I could see happening, a Hall of Heroes, and might help the guild earn merits a little faster, and would be a new guild building. So that was one thought that I had. And to get guild staking, monsters and chiming in on this whole sort of like land staking idea and growing that some more.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. There's all sorts of possibilities we can do for new guild buildings.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens first. I know that a big part of this is PI planning happens in like a little over a week. I guess it's 9 days or something, and hopefully those things all get kind of cleared up in 9 days, right? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna prioritize? When are we gonna what are the goals for the different sprints? And what are we hoping to accomplish across that whole PI quarter? I don't know. Should be pretty amazing, and I'm looking forward to what you guys put together.
Yep. So we should have clarity on a lot of that stuff hopefully soon.
And Mancer, you're a bit of a card lord like myself. Do you think you're going to sneak in here at all for the end of sale leaderboard? Are you eyeing any of the Rooney prizes or the land yourself?
I was thinking about it, but I think I'm pretty good for now. I still have several thousand unopened packs that I've been hoarding, and these days my focus is on getting ready for land. So rather than buying packs, I'm trying to focus on snapping up cards and maxing them all out, making sure I have enough land workers lined up.
Yeah, see, I think Rooney are going to be something pretty amazing, which is why I'm hoping for some Rooney in the leaderboard in the end here. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's coming. Anyways, I mentioned that because we're getting down to the wire here. We only have 216,000 packs. Assuming that 16,000 sell, we're less than 8 days away from the end of Chaos Legion, and I think that's pretty amazing. So I don't know. It's an end of an era. I'm like, part of me is excited, part of me is a little sad, but I don't know. Cool things are coming. All right, fellas. Anything else that you want to add, or anything that you want to leave us with before we head over to the next section here?
Nope, nothing more from my side. So kind of a quiet time, right? Excuse me. Kind of a quiet time right now for me, just focusing on some little things, but hope to be moving into some bigger stuff soon.
All right. Investigator, anything else?
Yeah, I don't know the exact timeline, but I know we should have some land updates coming out hopefully soon.
Yeah, I mean we're getting to the end of March here, so hoping land that the paper for 1.5 should be live pretty soon, and then the actual land 1.0 should be coming later this month. I know it's not next week, but land is targeted to hit this month. If we miss it by a week, we'll see, but currently that's the plan, and hopefully we'll make it by the end of the month. All right. Well, let's go head over to WeirdBeard and maybe talk some Brawlhalla. WeirdBeard, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. How are you feeling this evening? For some reason, I can't hear WeirdBeard.
Oh, because I'm muted. I'm just bad at computer stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome back. Nice to hear your voice.
I'm good. Like it was mentioned earlier tonight that we're coming up on our next planning session, which is like always exciting because it's unlimited possibilities. Even as Dave McCoy was talking about earlier, with the new proposal, some of the stuff that they had asked about was new player experience stuff, and we have things that are coming up for that as well, which are pretty great and exciting. And it's always fun to be able to dig into new stuff now that we have one big quarter down, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, the number of things that got kind of like scratched off the list is actually pretty impressive. So I know everybody feels like development at times is it's this weird mix, when like sometimes people are saying, oh, it's at a snail's pace and it's frustrating, and at other times they're like, hey, there's too much stuff happening, knock it off. So it's like I don't know how to win there, but we're trying to get out new modes, new ways to interact, new styles, new ways to use your cards, and trying to engage the users in new ways. I guess what are you hearing from like the Cryptomancer was talking about guilds and maybe new guild buildings. Anything that you think would be like a hit over in that department? What do you think that the players would really want to see there?
Well, I mean, first they want to see a combination of two things. First thing is the stuff that Cryptomancer mentioned about like, hey, we can now have card packs, as prizing in tournaments. It's players want us to polish out a lot of the stuff that we've already kind of gotten out, right? Like tournaments, guilds, ranked, the market, everything has just these little bumps and bugs and stuff. And we've had kind of a large backlog for a while now that we've really been starting to chip through. Which I think is great. Players want to see more of more systems fixed and updated now that they've been in use for a while. But just because those things have also been in use for a while, the other thing that's been in use for a while is a game mode, right? Like ranked is a main kind of like focus of this entire gaming ecosystem. And then you can mention like, oh, there's tournaments, oh, there's brawls, but really that's like ranked in a different format, right? You're still playing and interacting with the cards the same. You're collecting cards the exact same way. I think players are looking in, the next couple of quarters for us to improve on that, that we have 4 years of ranked. So what's a supplementary game mode that people are going to be able to go out there and play and enjoy? I think that's something that we've heard a lot from players. It's up in the air for what kind of game mode they want, because there's all kinds of different ways. People just love the cards. Like you even see it in Splinter Forge that's been released and everything in the Splinterlands ecosystem, where you take your cards and you're battling and using them in a different way. Players love that. They eat it up. And so I think that we could really make some real strong headway with something that takes stuff that people are familiar with and gives it just a little bit of a different twist than it normally gets.
All right. So first off, I know that we have some beta packs lying around and I haven't done much with them, but if we get a tournament mode that awards some packs, I could see some beta packs going out to this community. I think people would be pretty excited for that.
Yes, I think
you're chuckling.
Yeah, I am.
Do you think people would like beta packs?
Maybe. I don't know. Like it's up in the air is the phrase that I'll use on that one. But I think you could use it to get a couple of people excited at the very least.
Yeah. So I could definitely see that happening. I guess you very specifically, if we had to invent a new guild building, do you have an idea of what guild building we might create next, or what it would do, or what they think the players might want most?
We definitely have a lot already in mind that we've talked about internally. One that I like is the idea of maybe like a guild treasury. So instead of individual people contributing DEC to, building upgrades or whatever, and expecting that it has to be done, they could just put the DEC into the treasury and, somebody goes, oh, look, we have all this pooled. Here you go. And you just make, make it real easy. And then it, maybe does discounts as it gets leveled up or whatever. But I think that there's a lot of cool opportunities for things to be able to do. Like when it comes to land, one of my favorite things is talking about, like, hey, can guilds host their own arena, that's going to have people coming in and battling and doing their own tournaments for that guild. People want to interact with other people, so anything that allows easier like management, which I think is the guild treasury, and then the ability to set up like rivalries that they have for themselves of, hey, here's our arena, we're inviting any guild to come in and talk their trash and see what they can do when they step into our land.
Yeah. All right. Any other? You had mentioned a little bit about new player experience.
Mhm.
Have you had any conversations about that in the last 6 months?
A lot. I think people believe that it's like another mysterious, it doesn't exist type thing. It's all smoke and mirrors. But there's been a lot of progress kind of internally about what does a new player experience look like? How does that impact people? What's going to be the most important, and what goes first to how you do it? When we talk about the proposal listing to go and get listed by a big market. I think when people raise the question of like, okay, well, are we doing new player stuff? Like if we're attracting all these people, you want them to stick, right? Like it's not just getting eyes on the game doesn't do anything if they are gone 2 weeks after they see it. So I think being able to have some of those new player experience things that we've already done, such as putting the bots in novice. And then once you're out of novice, you don't go back into novice. Things like that are good. And then we also have, how do we make it easier for new players to just get in and start playing? And I think that's the key number one thing, that if we can make it super easy for new players to get here and within 15 minutes they're playing battles and sort of barely, even if they're barely kind of understanding what's going on, that's going to be the best new player experience that we can really get for them.
What do you think we're missing to get us from here to there?
Tutorials are part of it, but tutorials are for those that are intellectually curious, like people have to want to be able to learn. So even getting them in a quick play style mode, having it so that they can see and like jump into a guided battleground type thing to where it's like, hey, scripted battles type of a thing. I think that's really important, because again, people need to get their hands on it and instantly start playing and go, I know what I'm doing here. Because one of the biggest feedback items that we sort of get about new players and what they struggle with is that they'll be here for an hour, 2 hours, and those are like the people who are really trying, and they still go, I don't know what's happening. Like I'm picking cards, but I don't know why the things are happening what they are. So we have to kind of distill it down to the like base core level that we can get it to, and they just see, it's fun, and then we add all those layers on top of it.
Maybe we just need like even just something like a 10-second video or something that explains the rules at like a super high level.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we
maybe that would
actually,
help.
I hit up. I'm bugging Nate right now. I'm recording a bunch, but we'll see if they pass the muster test of everybody. But it's yeah, I think videos are part of it too. Some people are visual learners. Some people are like they have to read it to be able to get it. Again, I think one of the things, Lilyfire, who's a support agent that works with us, and I've met a lot with her, and she has like a background in educational stuff. And one of the things that she's always trying to impress upon me that I have to learn is people learn in different ways. So we can't just go, here's the one way that new players are going to get onboarded. You have to meet as many different players in as many different places as you can.
So that is an incredibly intelligent opinion. So going back to, I'm going back 5 years or more now, back when I was a chemist and a professor, there was one study that came out that I thought was like particularly amazing. A professor looked at, there's a bunch of different things that people could do in the classroom to go figure out, is this helping them learn chemistry or not? And it would be like doing their homework, doing online homework, doing problems from the back of the book, reading the chapter, watching videos, going to the lecture, studying for tests. And, I forget all the different categories, but those were some of the major ones. And the study found that there was almost zero correlation with any one specific one of those. But what they found was that there was a very high correlation with how many of them that they did. Meaning that, if all you did was read the book, you would do poorly. But if you read the book, did some homework, watched the videos, came to the tutorial sessions, if you did lots of different stuff, that's ultimately the highest definer of success. So I don't know. I think you and Lily are onto something with thinking through, there's not one silver bullet that's going to make this work. You have to give them some easy battles to start. You have to give them some super quick videos that, they can watch at their own pace, and just help them learn this stuff without it being excruciating.
Yeah. And I think it's also having to peel away the resources. And I think we're making a lot of progress on being able to, now that we're doing agile, right, divvy up the workload and make it so that it's not as much that we have to have, hey, here's the one thing everybody's kind of working on, because we're having to redo work. We're having to do way more planning and way more double guessing and everything like that. When you get efficient, you're able to fill in those gaps with other stuff. And that's sort of the thing we've been hoping for the most, is to get rolling on, again, new play modes, new player experiences, a lot of the tournament overhauls that we've had sitting in the oven. It feels like 10 years now. And Cryptomancer, I'm hoping to steal his time as well to make some progress on league locks as well. So lots of stuff, hopefully.
Cool. Anything else you want to share tonight, WeirdBeard?
New tournaments coming up very, very soon. Again, we have a ghost card or not a ghost card tournament, an owned gladiator card tournament on Friday, 3 p.m. EST. Join that. We've been killing it with those tournaments. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I think what we need to do next is talk to Rondon and go into a little bit of Splinterlands TV. I'm thinking that he'll be here in just a second. There we go. Mr. Ron, how you doing?
Oh man, things are going great. Except for the Discord bot not working. Sorry about that, folks. For some reason, the Discord bot is just not working. So diligently working in the background, trying to get that going. So we'll have it next week. But anyway, thanks for having me on, Ag.
Yeah, it's always good to hear about Splinterlands TV. How's our March promotion going? What's that looking like?
This March promotion, I think, might be the best thing that's ever happened so far. So
really? Tell me why.
Well,
because I got to tell you, all I see in my Twitter now is like, hey, look, I want a gold foil because of on Splinterlands TV. And I'm like, holy crap, how many of these have we given away? This is outrageous. It's really not that much, but somehow it's like my entire feed right now.
I think that there's a little bit of I think what they call selection bias, maybe.
That's possible.
Because people aren't going, oh my gosh, look at this common card that I won. Like that's not something that's going to happen. It's going to be, look at this legendary gold foil and look at this legendary. The fact of the matter is, though, we have an amazing selection of cards up for grabs on Monster March. If you haven't heard of it, it's the big promotion that we're running this month. Every single stream, our streamers are giving away up to 5 cards per stream. So, and that's just with the promotion. They might even give away more than that of their own cards and stuff like that. So, it's been pretty cool. We're now up to 114 average viewers for this month. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, we're getting around close to 2,000 unique viewers in just the past 7 days. Tons of chat mess. I mean, the all of the metrics are just up. Like it's been really phenomenal. And the gold foil llama is still up for grabs. Has not been given out yet. I got to tell you, quite honestly, I was kind of hoping, because I mean, this is just like, it's been up for grabs since the very beginning of Monster March. And I was dreading like the very first couple of days. I was like, don't give away that gold foil llama yet. Don't give away the gold foil llama yet. And it didn't happen. So it's still up for grabs. So, it can happen. It can happen right now, like during this stream. It could happen, at the end of March. Who knows? Just random chance. That's how it works.
All right. So that all seems like it's going well. And in fact, one of the ways that you can sort of judge how things are going is by just looking at like the number of Splinterlands TV shout outs. So I'm seeing a ton here, like Euclithial, Bruce Guy, Grillis Gaming, Solving Chaos, Delta 10 310, Jobby Saints, Blade Sinner, Bob Car J, Sile 13, Hezekiah 1, Diamonds Not Damons, Madagar, Cray Mundre, M. Howie, the Scanner, and Prime Rogue Inc. That's probably the biggest list of Splinterlands TV shout out recipients that we've had like ever. So that to me tells me that a lot of people are watching a lot of Splinterlands TV right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, the numbers have been just fantastic. Lots of people joining in, lots of people winning cards. I'll be having a full report on that. It's actually quite a bit easier to release the reports. So, I'll probably release one tomorrow, since that'll be day 7 of our promotion, and give you guys an update on like who's winning and how much they're winning and all that. As far as like, I do have a partner update too. So we did get the partner achievement, the path to partner achievement, which is when you average 75 viewers and get all these different metrics and stuff, stream for a certain amount of hours, which we definitely cover.
What, they don't require 24/7 for all their partner channels?
No, they don't. But we applied and they rejected it. So
really?
Yeah. And according to some of our streamers, this is something that happens. They always reject the first one. They kind of want to see that you're going to keep that 75 figure. And it's not because we applied immediately, like as soon as we were eligible. I think it was like an hour after we were eligible, I applied. Because I've just been anxious for it. This has been a year coming, and I wanted it to happen, but they rejected it. So, but the thing is, they want to see it happen for a little bit, from what I understand. And maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe in a month, we'll be able to get it. But as far as it goes, though, we still are monetized. We are an affiliate. So, all of you guys can subscribe to the channel, and that goes directly to the streamers. You can also send bits and cheers and all of that stuff that goes directly to the streamers. Splinterlands takes none of that money. Twitch does take a cut, but whatever after Twitch is cut, we send it all directly to the streamers. So yeah, you guys, every little bit you do on there supports the streamers directly.
Yeah, rock on. Speaking of those streamers, do we have a stream of the week?
This is actually pretty interesting. This is the highest voted clip of the week that we've ever had. And we had quite a few submissions this week too. It's actually really nice. You guys are out there putting in your clips. I really enjoy watching all of those stuff. You guys have captured a lot. I'm trying to figure out a way to make this, make Ag watch more than one clip per week, because honestly, there's just so many. And the thing is there was a few clips this week that really should have won, but I got to go with the audience's choice. The audience overwhelmingly voted this one. So, I don't know. And what I'll say is pay special attention to the card IDs at the bottom as they feverishly scroll through. That's kind of, that'll give you a little bit of context of what's going on in this clip of the week.
A quick look at what I had going on over here. And yeah, there they are. Oh no, what's this? No, he's sending so much. He's sending so much. He's sending so much. You guys, we're just gonna be giving stuff away. Okay. So we'll just give stuff away. Apparently, make sure. Oh wow, good stuff.
So Sergeant Bawong, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Basically just flooded Butters with about 1 million gold foil cards.
Yeah, how many was it? I didn't count.
I have no idea. It was quite a bit.
Yeah. So he's just like sitting there death wheeling for the rest of the show.
I mean, these are the kind of positions these streamers get in. They just get all these cards to give away, and then it becomes a burden.
The horrible burden. I'm sorry that we put you through that, Butters. That sounds atrocious.
It was 60 gold cards, he says.
60. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So and Sergeant Bawong is not a stranger to giving the streamers a bunch of stuff. That's just happened quite a bit. I think he gave away some what was it? Was it dice packs, or was it it was something like that, or maybe essence orbs, I think. He was giving away a lot of stuff. Like, he's kind of the streamer fairy, just giving away all these things and just dropping awesome gifts on them.
I think you got to call him Uncle Bawog or Babog.
Uncle Bob.
He gets to be uncle now. That he earned the title. All right. Well,
but
anything else?
There's some serious giveaways happening on Splinterlands TV. There's a lot of great knowledge and tips and tricks and strategies. There's a lot of fun times to be had. I mean, it's just a great time all around, and there's really no reason why you guys aren't watching it 24/7. I mean, you don't really need sleep, do you?
Yeah, of course not. All right. Well, Ron, anything else you want to share about Splinterlands TV for right now?
That's about it. Yeah, guys, just keep on tuning in, and we'll update you next week with more goodness.
All right. Now I want to go bring on Nate, and we want to go do some eye candy. Nate was giving me some grief ahead of the show that I never give him enough time. So Nate, if you want the next 53 minutes to show eye candy and talk about whatever you'd like, you go and do that, sir. I'm not here to rush you. I want you to feel appreciated. I want you to feel like time is at your disposal, and you are free to do as you wish with your segment, sir.
Wow. Maybe I'll get my favorite book. I'll read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'll just start reading chapter after chapter till our time runs out.
Mostly harmless.
So yeah, I'll I love a lot of the stuff that's been discussed on the town halls thus far. There's a lot of good stuff there. What's the most recent thing? You and WeirdBeard were chatting about the new player experience. Yeah, I think
is that something that you care about personally? Is that all devs? Is it all Matt? Or does creative have something to do with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that sometimes I'll tease that the UX, the design department, cries themselves to sleep with some of the MVP philosophy. That, I mean, there's a good reason why we're in MVP mode, but sometimes it's painful, right? Because it's like we want to polish things up. We want things to have a AAA experience. We want to hold new players by the hand and say, hey, let's go on this journey together, right? And there's reasons why we haven't done that, and that's been debated in Mav's chat and town halls and other places. We're not gonna tie up this town hall over the pros and cons, because really at the end of the day it doesn't matter anymore, because it's on the roadmap now. Like this year, we're officially saying Splinterlands is going to care about the new player experience, and I think I mentioned it in before somewhere. Map chat or town hall or whatever.
Hey, hold on. That's not quite fair. It's not like we've never cared. It's just that, like, you got to get to a certain spot before you can be like, hey, here's this new player experience, and also we've invented SBS. So everything that we just told you is a lie. Like when you got to get the major developments done before you can kind of turn around and be like, all right, here's what you do next.
No, absolutely. And sometimes what sucks is like, so like knowing what I know, like I'm like, I usually keep my mouth shut on all these cool, awesome things we're working on or things we're doing. And, I'll leak a little bit on the town halls, but there's just so much more, right? And so when people say, the game's not even changing, Nate, just do it. It's like, oh my goodness, even with it on the roadmap, I'm like, I'm working on all these things that could change the new player experience for the better. All these different things that are going to be happening to the game to just as we get closer and closer to Battles 2.0, or we get closer to revamping and changing this or changing that. And then you got land plop down in the middle of it all. I mean, there's just so much. Heck, land. I mean, when people talk about land as this separate thing, I said it before, land is the promised land. Land is where all these things in the ecosystem are probably going to get wrapped up and put into land. Land encompasses much more than people are probably realizing. But I will say that from a UX perspective, because that's how we look at it, from the UX and the UI designers on the creative side, we look at this stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of great ideas that are coming to mind. And the closer and closer we get to designing this thing out, the more excited that I'm definitely just stoked out of my mind. I mean, even at a really high level, you can kind of see the pieces coming into place. All the ducks are coming into a row, starting with what Investigator mentioned earlier about the kind of like the system bots kind of helping to pave the way for a better novice experience. Now you think about that, right? So you got, that's step one. The next block might be, well, can we further refine how those bots treat the new player and novice? And then the block after that is like, well, 10 battles later, you're going into bronze. What could we do every step of the way, right? Every battle, they get closer and closer to bronze. Well, instead of just battles, what could it be that we insert into that? What kind of narrative? What kind of take you by the hand and not just an experience, but an adventure? Like, how can we introduce them into this ecosystem in the most immersive, the most fun, the most engaging way possible, right? I bet all of you guys listening to this are thinking of ideas. Even if I'm talking, I want to hear those ideas, right? But then once they go into bronze and they've gone through this little narrative or this journey of 10 battles and they've won and they feel good about themselves now, right? They got that sense of fulfillment. They're like, wow, this is cool. I'm digging it. I want more. Then, we got a pathway in front of them. We got this maybe what I'd love to do, I don't know if it's going to happen. WeirdBeard has been championing the community for so long about battle passes and different game modes and all this other stuff. And, this past weekend, I was thinking about that because I'm always the no guy. Like, people on the town hall don't realize that internally, Nate is like the dark cloud. Like, someone will be excited and say, this idea. And Nate's like, I don't know about that. And it's like, I'm like Ebenezer Scrooge. And because I have some UX issue with that or some UI conflict or, let's look at this holistically. It's not going to work because of that. But, as Aggie, as you like to point out, don't just come saying, no, come with a solution. So I was thinking about this, like, okay, how can we make this work? And I was thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, the more like, you know what? I got to hook up with you and Matt and WeirdBeard and whoever else, because, I can see some potential here. I can see some ideas on maybe we just take this part out, put this part in. And I think it really revolves around the existing focus system, right? Once we get in the new player experience, I'm wondering if there's a way where we can kind of like take that daily focus and kind of like break it apart a little bit and create something similar to the whole battle pass experience, but basically take what we already have, right? To kind of like say, hey, for those of you, because the daily focus was supposed to be where you kind of learn to play with death or learn to play with earth. For one whole day, you learn a new strategy. Hey, learn how sneak works. Hey, learn about healing, right? And it really never became that because people don't really, I don't think most people even pay attention to the daily focus. They just win. And if they happen to get the chest, then great. If they happen to complete the daily focus, great. But I think we can motivate people to actually get more involved with that daily focus. And I think that's a great way to kind of like springboard straight from, hey, I just entered bronze to like, what? Daily focus? What's that? And suddenly you're getting rewarded for learning the ins and outs and nuances and strategies and the depth of the gameplay, right? I think there's some potential here. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. And then on top of that, we have this other layer where you have like this modular access to all the information you need. Just like Baron's Toolbox. If you guys haven't downloaded that app and installed it in your browser, that's a cool app, because primarily the big takeaway from that app is that it gives you access to information that you think, what was that? And then you can click a button and it's available. I think that we need to take that same approach with pretty much all the other stuff. Make it easily accessible so that wherever you're at, you click a button and it's like, oh, I'm getting, I want to know this one thing specifically, not like everything. It's a little overwhelming at that point, but I just want to know this. And then boom, the information's there. It's like, oh, I got what I need. All right, see you later. It's kind of like Wiki. I just want to know this one thing. So I think between all these different layers and building blocks and cogs in the wheel, I think there's a lot of potential for where we end up with a new player experience.
I actually think that data is both. I nerded out about education earlier. I'll nerd out about it again. When you do like active learning and you really try to help somebody learn, what I found is that it's best to go have like a repository of the information where it's almost like a glossary, or like everything is listed in a place. So if you don't know anywhere else to go, you can be like, that's the place that I would go. But then you also want it like directly at that very moment, that if something is in your face right that second, you don't have to go somewhere else to find it. It's already on the page. It's already listed. You can already find it. You already know what the ability does, or the rule set does, or what the card does that's special about it. You don't have to go anywhere else. But having it both in the repository, but also live and accessible easily, it's the combination where you give the information at the point that the person needs it.
Yeah, definitely. And then I see my wife Rainey commenting on how I just get too excited, too emotional about everything. But here I am just babbling on and on about UX for the new player experience. That's what really gets me excited. It's funny because I just UX and UI stuff. It really, being able to take something as complicated as blockchain and crypto and make that easily accessible and user friendly. That's like that's the holy grail. I mean, I've said it before. I think the big obstacle to mainstream adoption for crypto and blockchain is that's essentially at the end of the day UX problem. And the person who solves that UX is going to open the floodgates. And I think that's where we're headed. I think that this year we're going to make a lot of headway in making that happen.
And Matt and I believe that. That's why you were literally the first employee here. Like that is, we tasked you with that from day one. And I think that's spot on. And I don't think that mission has changed. It's like, we have all of this complicated crap that we're doing. If there's like no way you could give somebody like a 30-second highlight of what Splinterlands is and have any chance to encompass more than like 5% of the information in your best, like, short form elevator pitch about the game. And then, when you get into it, the weeds that we've established here are like deep and complicated. And so really having to learn all that and figure it all out, it's a monster. And then all you have to do is combine all of that information and put it in really easily digestible screenshot images on like an iPhone, right? Like at the end of the day, all this stuff has to come down to like itty bitty screens on mobile. Like, to me, this is the hardest gig in the world. You got to go take incredibly complicated information and put it down into like the smallest screen possible. And the whole thing is brutal. So kudos for making it as digestible as we have it.
Well, absolutely. Well, thank you for the opportunity. I know people didn't go on the towel to me ramble about UX. So let me get to the eye candy. Let me see what the first thing, as soon as I got onto the stream, the first request I think was golly, his name, Fat Jimmy asked, and what sucks is about
Jimmy.
Okay, I'm just gonna call you Jimmy, man, because that's the thing. When I go on social media, I feel like nowadays I'm so paranoid about saying the wrong thing, right? Here I am on live stream saying Fat Jimmy, and they don't know it's the guy's username. Like, I'm freaking body shaming or something. Change your username, man. Okay, so let me see what we get. What did he ask for? He asked for the wallpaper for Dark Energy Crystal guy. So I went ahead and frantically hurried up and grabbed that. So even though you guys have seen it before, I don't think we released it as a wallpaper, and you have Fat Jimmy to thank for having that for your desktop. So there you go. The other thing that was asked of me at the beginning of the town hall was from, let me see, this was in the YouTube chat, Battle Beast. Battle Beast to thank. He requested some leakage of the promo character. For those of you guys who remember, there was a proposal that passed, and that I think Gene Poole was the one who made that happen, right? With a lot of support from, I think, collaboration with Dave McCoy and a bunch of other people in the community. So you guys pushed that through. You made that happen. So, I don't have a lot to share, but I got enough to at least whet your appetite, I think, just to let you guys know it's being worked on. So if you guys would like to see what we're thinking, we're contemplating. Now, everything is subject to change. It might not be this character at all. Like, I'm still waiting for Biz and Matt to kind of like fine tune the stats. And if the stats just are like just ridiculously conflicting with the artwork, then we've done it before. We last minute change it. Let's change this up. But here, let me set the stage here for you mentally, because you know me. You gave me all the time in the world to just hype up before I actually drop it in Discord. That's your fault. So
yeah, you are a tease, and you like to be a tease. Go on.
So Tyler, our creative coordinator lead, had this idea that, hey, this is a SPS proposal. And what do you see when you go to the SPS management page? Well, you click a button, and this was because of you, Aggie. The world has Aggie to thank for. Aggie was the one who requested this little guy to show up as a spinner. We had a little loot goblin guy. If you guys have ever claimed SPS or done some with your SPS on that page, then that spinner is a fun little guy who kind of has a bag full of SPS, and he's bringing it to you or bringing it to whoever you're sending it to. So we said that guy would be an awesome named common character to represent the first promo card from an SPS proposal. So with that in mind, here is his name is Vruz, V-R-U-Z, and he is the we're actually making a new goblinoid race because he's tiny. He's not a typical goblin. So we have like a little gremlin goblin race, and we'll Joey, our narrative lead's working on the details of that. Same with Dan, our other narrative designer. But there you go. There is Vruz, the little loot goblin, who will hopefully come to you soon on a shop page. And then to celebrate Vruz, I'll give you another little taste of some of the background art that's being worked on to kind of celebrate this shop page and this historic new promotion card for the game Splinterlands. So, and there's Vruz filling his bag. He just found a chest, and he has this glowing coin, and he's all, ooh, shiny. So that's fun. I'm trying to think what else. Let's see. I'll give you at least one more thing. How about last time I was on a town hall, we kind of did a quick vote on some of the graphics, and the Roy, our UX designer, has been working on that, and along with I think Harry, our senior UI designer, was adding some polish possibly, but they were collaborating. And then with Madi, our art lead, and they all got together, and I think we're started handing off the specs to engineering to kind of get that survey page done. And of course, you got the survey boosts on there, and I'll share you a little preview of what that might end up looking like. So there are some of the graphics that you guys voted on. You'll be able to, when you go to survey, you're going to be able to maybe do a whole listing, or maybe a whole tract full, and choose which ones you want to have which boosts on there. And you'll be able to go ahead and then click the button, and off you go. You'll have a whole card flipping experience, but with deeds. So yeah, I think and of course I'm going to share more as time goes by. So as we get closer to the shot page for Vruz, I will share a little bit of that next time. Same with land and everything else.
Yeah, that survey page is looking pretty lit. I know that players are excited for V1 to actually come out. Are you done with all the UI for V1? Are you still working on UI? Are we in final tweaks? Did we just start yesterday? Like where would you say that project's at?
Almost the entirety of the basic layouts and UI and everything for a million different screens has now been handed off to engineering. We wanted to give them plenty of time in order to meet our deadline, which of course, as many of you are aware, we're trying to hit by the end of Q1, which is the end of this month. We are trying to bring you guys the survey phase. Even though we are tinkering a little bit, there's just so much. It's just such a beast of an update that I let Matt and the team know, hey, as this is being implemented, we did not have time to like prototype to the degree that we would like to. So as it's hitting the internal test servers and things like that, we're probably going to make some tweaks along the way, and we're going to collaborate very tightly over the next couple of weeks to make sure it is as perfect as we could possibly make it. But yeah, for the most part, almost all the art assets and UI and UX and all that stuff, engineering has it now. Same thing with a ton load of spreadsheets and calculations and figuring. I mean, wow, you guys have no idea how much stuff it takes to bring this to life. But I'm very happy to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's happening. Like I see it happening every day. The devs are sharing what's going on, and it's incredible. I think you guys are going to like it.
Do you, from your take and your experience, do you think we're going to hit the end of March, or do you think that we're going to bleed into April? What do you think is going to happen?
Internally, you guys need to understand this. Internally, the team is basically like, we are freaking eye of the tiger. We are like so focused on meeting that deadline. Like sometimes we'll be like, well, we're going to shoot for this date. If we don't make it, then we'll release it. No. It's almost like not even an option. Like Matt's like end of this month. We're like end of this month. Farpatron and the engineers work on this end of this month. We're like so focused on meeting this deadline that it would have something dramatically horrific would need to happen for us not to get at the end of the month. And then, so yeah, I mean, right now I think we're all feeling pretty good about it. We'll see as we continue to test and just kind of like see if there's any unforeseen issues, but so far there hasn't been. So yeah, I think we're looking good so far.
Basically right away, the hope is after V1 comes out, we start working on V1.5 and we start getting card staking and land really functional, not just the surveying, and some of that was your idea. It's like, let's not wait until every single building in the entire production scheme is 100% worked out. What are some of the things that we could do right away that get this damn thing moving? Do you see that like happening right away? Is V1.5 something that we get done in one sprint, in 5 sprints? Is it going to take the rest of the year? Like what kind of timeline, or what's your first estimate on, how long it's going to take creative, and do you think it'll be like all at once, or do you think we'll be able to roll out pieces as we go?
Well, the great thing about 1.5 is that it's intended to give utility and functionality to the surveyed land as quickly as possible without delaying what we're trying to build. So the idea had been, you're right, the idea had been that, hey, look, how long is it going to take to do version 2? And we're like, well, it's going to take months. And then, of course, my fear, and I think we were all on the same page of music, is like, well, that sucks. Like, we're all landowners too, most of us. And we're like, Well, that sucks. I don't want to wait a few months, just, survey and just stare at my land and watch the birds go by. And I just like, what then? Like, I got to just wait. It kind of like takes the wind out of the sail, right? Kind of deflates the momentum and the traction that we're building. So we're like, okay, what can we do? That would be a low hanging fruit. And then blah, we have like, suddenly the ideas started flying right and left, and we're like, okay, how long is it going to take creative? Well, that shouldn't take that long. We can have that done in a few days. Well, what about that? How long is that going to take? Well, I don't think it'll take that long either. So we're tossing ideas back and forth. And as Matt gets closer and closer to releasing the 1.5 white paper, then some stuff might hit the cutting room floor if we feel like or suspect that it'll delay 2.0 in any way, because that's not the intention of 1.5, is to like delay land in general. The point of it was like, what can we do quick and easy that gives utility sooner rather than later? And I think in doing so, it's probably going to end up motivating people to start claiming those land. Because I know we got a little stuck in land of prosperity. It's okay. No hurry. People can take their time. Everyone's waiting for that center fire or whatever. I know personally, maybe I shouldn't say anything because I don't want anyone to take it, but I'm kind of eager I'm going to grab some land of prosperity stuff from a narrative point of view. There's a lot of history there. So whether you're talking Mount Mox or you're talking the little port down below that used to be the port upon which all the surrounding continents would come and go to the biggest tournaments in the world and that kind of thing. There's a lot of good storytelling for those of you who read the Chaos Legion lore that started off in that area. So I think I have my motivations for wanting to pick up some land. I'm just waiting for the right plot, the right area, and then I'm probably going to pick some. But yeah, I think 1.5 is probably going to start people's juices flowing. It's like, I don't want to wait anymore. Claim. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Yeah. I have two reasons to claim. Although one is in different tracks. So I guess I kind of need to wait to see if a couple other tracks will go through. But yeah, I could see myself claiming a region in the ye old land of prosperity. That could happen. I am partial to that the central, because that does kind of look the coolest with the volcano right in the middle. But I don't know. I've been thinking about pulling the trigger. Gotta be honest.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we made the volcano explode and demolish everything around it every couple of months, I wonder if people would want to be in Central Fire anymore.
Yeah. Just the one random region that gets blown to bits every so often.
I know only our community says, no, I want to live right by the volcano. Like, who in their right mind wants to set up shop next to a volcano? That's just suicidal. What kind of crazy people do we have? But no, I could understand the cool factor.
Okay. Well, I think I need to get to some questions. So anything else you want to share with us before we call it a good time here?
No, we're good. We're stoked. We hope you're stoked. Everybody's stoked. Go team, go.
All right, I'll take that. Let's go open this up to questions, so we can go share sort of the questions in general. And let's see what we got here. So Nifty, now that Splinterlands is providing DEX to Nifty, is there anything being done to protect the borrowers from having to provide active permission to such platforms for Nifty to take the lender cut? I mean, you should really be doing that from like accounts that are specific to that. But there are parts of this that require active permissions to be set. Although, as the borrower, you don't have to share active permission. So it's only as the lendee. So I think that's a big thing, because hopefully most of the cards that you're getting are rented cards. But that, that is something to consider here. Price manipulation. Thoughts about the price manipulation attack. Some people pump GLX over 300% to get a 70% discount when burning GLX to get GLUSD. How will the team react if the same thing happens to SPL? So Splinterlands has much bigger liquidity pools, so it's substantial. I think that the GLS ecosystem is going to extend the like time averaging that it does for that calculation. So you can't just do that for like an hour. You have to do that for multiple hours. And also we're going to start implementing some of the liquidity pool rewards, which again, make that much harder to do. It can happen in Splinterlands, but somebody would have to put in a lot of money to make that thing move substantially, which I don't know that everybody's going to complain about, but something to consider. Card value. Could more be done to restore the value of the older cards, which now have lost a lot of value due to the newer mass printed cards and the creation of modern play? A prime example would be Malric Inferno. I paid $949 for a max level beta 15 months ago, which is now worth around $185. The value of the older cards took a big hit with the creation of modern play, which has made the older cards obsolete for new players. I'm hoping the bonus difference of the older cards for land utility will be significantly greater than 10% and will help restore the value of older cards. Yeah, I think that land is a big part of that, and making sure that all the cards have a spot to go. And I think it'll make things like Malric, that he is a powerful summoner. The cards that are like the low rent cards, those are a lot of them are gonna end up working land. But I think Malric is going to continue being like a battle performer, and hopefully we'll see markets reflect what happens when there's less supply around for battles, and we'll see what that looks like. Land. Matt said that we have to stake DEC on land for every card that we put on land. Can we also stake Deck B on land for cards? So I think the intention is that Deck B is not going to be usable for staking. Deck B is a substitute for burning. I don't know that that's 100%, but that is my current understanding. So like a building improvement, or like a guild kind of thing, or I think even I think we're doing a burn for Vrux. I'm not positive about that, but things that are burning, that's really what Deck B is for. Things that are staking, you're going to need DEC for that. How will the building in a box work if a plot happens to be a keeper castle? Will it allow the keeper castle to start at level 2? Keeps and castles are likely to have subsections within them. So you'll have parts of the keep or castle that have to be upgraded separately, and your building in a box will help upgrade one of those. Tax reporting. Regarding the Splinterlands user activity download, I would like you to make the user activity provide helpful information to users for tax reporting. Other crypto tokens I used provide transaction information, which includes the amount of token received, the value of the token at the time it was received, and the overall price of the token at the time it was received, along with the date and time. Can you make changes to the user activity reports so that it provides this information before this year's tax season deadline? Without this information, it is pretty much impossible to file any taxes related to Splinterlands related assets in the United States, considering the number of transactions that occurs even on a single account. Thanks for your consideration. I will pass that along to the devs. Let's see. Reward cards from chest. A lot of people from Splinterlands TV have noticed a sharp drop in reward cards from chest lately. Did anything change in the past 2 seasons? It seems really strange to many of us. Thanks for answering. I don't think there's been anything. Mancer or Investigator, do you know of anything that changed the number of reward cards that have been giving out in chests?
No, I don't think anything's changed recently. I think a lot of this is just the way perceptions look. Like a lot of times people only report the really, really good cards that they're getting, or they're quiet about the bad cards. And it can kind of skew perceptions a little bit when people do that. But nothing has really changed at all about the odds of getting particular cards.
Soulkeep, what is the status of tower defense? When will Mavs be able to alpha beta test? So I tried logging in today. I didn't have a permission. I've requested the permission, so I'll get access myself personally like hopefully sometime this week. And then I imagine it's not long after that we let Mavs beta test. So let's see if there's anything else I want to add here. David is saying we're nearly ready to release, share our closed beta. A lot to discuss in terms of details of the rollout. But in the meantime, he's looking for the Splinterlands employees to kind of chime in. And we got some balancing and cleanup to do, but I think he's got something like 24 levels already for testing. So I think we're there. We're there internally for Splinterlands, and then shortly thereafter, we should be there for everybody else. I know the intention was to go get the items and spell cards on the marketplace for the next release, not tomorrow, but a week after tomorrow. But one of the developers that has been working on that primarily got ill, or that there was something that blocked that for a little bit. So I don't know. Hopefully that is not a giant delay, but that stuff is supposed to be hitting in March. How about that? And that's the end of those questions. Okay. So now we got 20 minutes. And why don't you guys do the thing? If you guys have questions that you want to put in, go ahead and ask some questions. And please just do your best to go put question at the front. Ideally in like big bold letters. All right. So here we go. When TD pre-sale title? Good question. I don't know if we haven't given those out. We should do that soon. Question: am I missing something about these land boosts? How they will be usable immediately if building, farming resources, and constructing buildings won't come until June? Yeah, the idea is that you're going to buy them now, and we are shifting demand from June to now. So if you want the ability to get that, it's a bonus available now that won't be. That once you've like revealed your cards, you won't have access to. So maybe you choose not to get this. Maybe we're going to have some sort of time limit on this so that people that want it have a limited amount of time, not a permanent amount of time. But something to consider is that, yeah, the building boosts are not meant to be immediately usable. Question: will there be a cool off period or unstaked period when it comes to staking other accounts? I don't know what that question means. Anybody know how to interpret that?
I think you might mean SPS, like staking on players when we add that.
There's probably some, because you can't, I don't think it's good to like just bounce it around. So usually there's some kind of staking cooldown. What is the SPS multiplier among different league chests? I guess as you get higher up, how much different is the SPS that you can earn? Do we have like a graphic or something that shows that somewhere? I think Investigator is nodding. Does that exist?
Yeah, we do. It may have fallen off the chart in one of the revisions, but I think we definitely have that information. If it's not on the Discord bot, you can talk to it and do a $ chests, and it should tell you what the breakdown is. If it's not in that graph, we can update the image.
And we should also have that on the site somewhere, right? Like if that doesn't live there, we need to make sure that players can know that without coming into Discord. Pandax is asking, bot tools and helpers are being used to dominate tournaments and brawls. What's your comment on this? WeirdBeard, you want to take a pass at that?
Yeah, I don't like it. It's a complicated issue that we've been discussing internally. The larger issue is that it's not like normally when people discuss bots, they talk about bot farms, right? So it's like hundreds of thousands of accounts that just like are running mindlessly. The issue in brawls and tournaments is that they're individual accounts running a single use bot, right? I think that tournaments and brawls are competitive areas where we have people that are playing without even ever touching an account, right? Like it just runs on auto. I have no say in a ranked arena, but I think competitive areas are for humans who are logged in that are competing on a level ground. And I don't like that. We've talked about internally ways that we can address that. And once we have a solution outside of just add captcha to stuff, I think that's something that we want to go after, because more than anything else, I just always champion, like, the people that come in and play our tournaments are there because they want to compete, right? Like they want to be able to, if they lose, they go, all right, cool. I did my best. That other person outplayed me. And it sucks to lose to an algorithm, to a bot that's not thinking, not feeling. And it's to an account of a lot of times people that aren't even there. So that it's something that I mean, we're trying to figure it out, is the summation of how I can say that. But you know, it's just it's really a massive black eye on tournaments and brawls that has happened, and we've seen the rise of it over the past few months, and it's just other than the people that are running the bots in those areas, I don't think there's anybody that's pleased with the fact that they have become so prominent.
All right. To add on to the nifty questions, I would hope that we have on a business level contracts and assurances between companies governing the assets. Is there somewhere that states exactly what those agreements look like, barring any NDAs? They don't own those assets at all, and there's no special treatment of them. They just work the same way that any other assets do. The difference would be, if these things aren't successful, we can burn them. If they are successful, we can go gift them to the DAO or send them to the DAO, or the DAO can buy them. I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. And hopefully, like the man said, there's multiple guilds coming in, including Indie GG, which is like 600,000 people, is a big freaking guild. So if that's real, that would be pretty amazing. And we're going to need a bigger boat. But there's not any special treatment of those decks from their side. So it's just the same thing. And they're not in their possession. They're in the possession of accounts that Splinterlands manages. Rick on the Mountain, can we please get an idea exactly how the in-game RNG for percent abilities is decided? I'm working on a suggestion to improve and would love to have information to build on. Thank you. Mancer, you help put a lot of this into the game. Do you want to describe any of how RNG percentage abilities works?
I'd have to take a closer look at the code to really go into details. I can't really wing that off the top of my head, but I'd say that chart there that Rondon posted is one of the best authorities for looking at the chances of getting cards under different situations. For battle stuff, I'd have to look at the code. It's not really something I can talk about off the top of my head.
The right answer is magic. Every time, just say magic.
No, my recollection is that there's a hash on the block, and that hash on the block is used to determine, basically it feeds all the RNG for that particular game. So, you have percentage chances, but what actually turns into your percentage chances is determined by the RNG, and that's determined by the hash of the block that the battle happened in. So that's where the RNG comes from. It's decided by the block hash of the number that's there, and then based on the rules of the game. And we do that so that, using nothing other than, here's a way to go test and see, did this battle win or lose? You don't need anything other than, who were the participants, what were the cards used, what were the rules, and what was the block hash. It might be slightly more complicated, because I think it's like the current block hash, the previous block hash, and it's enough to sort of like make it incredibly difficult for somebody to spoof. So that's where that stuff generally comes from. Cryptomancer, when land 1.5 white paper, will it have actual numbers regarding bonuses for using cards of different rarities, editions, etc. as land workers? So we have a meeting tomorrow. I'm hoping that's sort of the final meeting, and we get it like by the end of this week. But I said that last week, so take it with a grain of salt. But We're in the final stretch, so it's pretty damn close. Can you explain what aspects of land are planning to be live for V1 and what will be live for V1.5? So Nate, you want to describe what's V1?
Well, V1 is what we are trying to finish up this month. So that basically it's what you already have plus the ability to survey. So surveying, I shared one of the many screens that'll be introduced with surveys. But one of the cool things about surveying is that right now, I don't think that people see the region views. So we created all these region backgrounds and we've leaked what those look like. There's a beautiful map-like artwork cartography, right? And you got this hexagonal grid overlaid with 1,000 plots on there. You know what? While I'm talking, I have had people say, Nate, how come the thing's a hexagon, but the things inside are not hexagons? Like, isn't that weird? Well, you know, I'm going to give you a UX UI understanding why we did that. The plots are rectangles because they have a similar aspect ratio to the next screen you navigate to. So if you click on one of those little rectangles, right, it's almost like imagine it blowing up, and boom, it fills up your screen like either, you know, and it shows you at ground level at that point. And you can, if you have a building, you see the building there, and it gives you that kind of that slightly more immersive experience. That's the only reason why. But ultimately, yeah, this month, you'll see the region, you'll see the grids, you'll be able to click on these little plots, you'll be able to zoom into ground level and see what's there, assuming it's surveyed, right? And if it's not surveyed, you have the option to make that happen. Click the survey button, add any boosts you want, card flip away, and then see what you got. And then and 1.5 will hopefully allow people to say, okay, now what? Oh, I can do this, and then we'll get into, or hopefully the white paper is coming.
Rick on the Mountain is asking, do we have any current information regarding SBS requirements per league? And no, that has not been published anywhere. Unreal is asking, can we get Splinterlands to develop better asset management tools and games so we don't have to rely on third-party sites? And actually, I was thinking about that recently, especially around like the new player experience, because there are some things that I always do on the Splinterlands website, but there's some things that I'll always do on third-party sites. And, you know, like if I want to list more than one card for sale, I can't do that in my own market screen and game. So I know that we have largely left that to the third parties to develop, but I think we're still missing some basic functionality. So hopefully in that new player experience, we get market screens or collection management. I think there's still some basic things that we're missing, and hopefully we can include those. Rick on the Mountain, is SBS League requirement being imposed as a replacement or addition to SBS staking requirement to earn? And if not as a replacement, do we know what about how much SBS earning requirements will work? I think we're hoping to get rid of collection power over time. We want SPS to sort of take over a good amount of those functions. All of the details of that are still TBD. And then that includes things like, you know, what happens if you don't have enough stake? You know, do you earn nothing? Do you earn some? Are you able to, is it just bonus SPS that you can earn that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise? What does that look like? And that is not determined yet. Question, wouldn't it be better for the community to be allowed to reveal our land without being punished if we don't also buy the boosts first months before we can use said boosts? Wouldn't it be better for the community to be allowed to reveal our land without being punished if we don't also buy the boosts? Well, it's not necessarily a punishment. It's basically for the people that want to get ahead, they're able to go do that. And the challenge is we've been in a rough market. We need to go get rid of some of this DEC that is, I call it the overhang, but we have a lot of DEC in this ecosystem, and we gotta use it up. And we put it to a vote for the community, and the community said yes, this is what we should do. So there are other things that could have been done that could have been done better or worse, but this is what we as a community voted on, and I feel pretty good about it. So that's where we're gonna go.
Aki, is it possible that I mean, I don't know. Would we need another proposal in order to? Because right now I feel like it's this pre-sale essentially months in advance, and people are going to benefit from that, presumably either because these are only available for a limited time and then they go away, or because they're never going to be so cheap. So I mean, I would suggest, hey, go make a proposal that makes it so that they don't go away. They're just cost 2 or 3 times more. Like you can still get them, and they become accessible, but maybe you just got to spend a lot more. I mean, that might be an alternative. I don't know, but I would assume anything's possible.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Is like, okay, if you do it before launch day, it's X price, and if you do it, after launch day, it's Y price. I think that makes a lot of sense because ultimately, when you do the pre-sale, things can change, and there's a element of risk of it won't be exactly what you anticipated when you started, and we want to reward that risk. But then as you get closer, the risk goes away, and therefore the price should be more expensive. So that would be an acceptable option to me. Either do it cheaper now and or do it more expensively later. I think that makes sense. If you don't want to wait, if you don't want the burden, if you don't want the uncertainty, that's a way that you can deal with that. If we haven't ended questions yet, we gotta end questions. I'm not gonna be able to stay up too much longer. This is my first day of solid foods in like 3 days. So my whole family's been sick. So I'm not feeling up for like the extra hour of questions. Ape of Wall Street, how do the community tell that some people are botting in brawls or tournaments? WeirdBeard, you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, you can't. Unfortunately, like it's not a just, oh, look at this thing. That's what tells you. The reason that we can identify it internally when we're even able to, because again, it's one-off. It like identifying bot farms is easy. Identifying individual accounts that use automated helpers that either, are not Xbot or, Archmage. It's and you don't have like the token to be able to tell. It's really tough. The way that we do it internally is that we can sort of have a grasp of who is using a bot, and then also cross reference with the people that are in tournaments that do those names coincide. But it's tough. So that's why it's a much more complicated problem than just get rid of bots. And because I mean, I've been on here a lot of times saying that I don't like them in tournaments and brawls specifically. But what's then the solution of how do you do it when it's not just a point and click and we can tell who is doing what and who's not?
Fat Jimmy's asking, what would you guys think about starting off with simply declaring bots against terms of service and tourneys? This would at least stop the bot token service from offering this, and that would be a huge step in the right direction, even though enforcement would be a work in progress.
It would be a community DAO proposal because the DAO is the ones that fund the tournaments. I've wanted to organize and get something like this going, but I feel like there's been a few other proposals that have been in line before me, so I didn't want to try to make it too complicated at once. But I would love to be able to see players get together and say that that's something that they do not want, because updating the terms of service is the lowest hanging fruit that we can do when it comes to keeping bots out of tournaments.
Did you guys think about spontaneous tournaments that can be joined by a live waiting queue, maybe on the battle UI, and automatically segmented into the player's current league level and with a fee roughly in the range of the price pool? I'd play a spontaneous tournament from time to time.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those like there's lots of ideas for tournaments. Which one do we do first, and which one's going to resonate the most with players? We have an idea of something that's tournament adjacent, that would be kind of like a live tournament style. But again, lots of new gameplay modes are under consideration, is what I would say.
946 by Sharman. Oh, I missed a question somewhere. Oh, Sharman. Sorry, Sharman. Is the option to play a lower level card something that will be added soon? Keep up the great work. That's already an option. You can already play a low level card. Maybe somebody can point them where in the UX you do.
Yeah.
Can't you drop down and pick a lower level card?
No. We brought up weeks ago that we would add an option at some point in the future to down level your cards, because there's some matches where playing a lower level version would make more sense, but we have not had time to implement it. It was recently put into the triage board for us to look at.
Nice. All right. I had a misunderstanding of where that was at. Yeah, it's a I guess that's a bug, not a feature, and we're working on it.
I will say a workaround that I do that I bet a lot of people do is, I mean, it's a little expensive. You get the gold foil, and then in the team select, you could swap between regular foil and gold foil. I do that with the monkey. So when it's you want low speed, I turn on gold foil and I get the lower level guy monkey who just repairs my armor but doesn't add the speed, right? So that's typically what I've been doing in the meantime.
Okay, that's sort of what I was thinking of then. Is that I knew that there was a way to do that. Okay, let's see. It was recently revealed by a player that is a part of a large network of guilds that their bot is running real-time simulations for ranked play during the 2 to 3 minutes that players have to create their team. What are your thoughts on this, and how can we combat this to give real humans equal footing in battle, which is stated intention of the great founders of our game? First, thanks for calling me a great founder of the game. Second, though, their bot is running real-time simulations for ranked play. That's hilarious and amazing. But I'm not sure that it ultimately helps you. I guess it helps you sort of take out the worst options that you might have put in there. But I don't think it's going to necessarily help you against, like, you still come down to rocks, paper, scissors, that even if you find out what the best 5 teams are, one will beat the other, beats the other, beats the other, because that's how this game works. So it might help you get rid of the dumb teams, but so does just being a good player. So I don't know. WeirdBeard, do you have any thoughts on that tool in particular?
I think when we're talking about consideration of new game modes, I think this is something that's like in the back of our minds, because sometimes it is the fact that you can simulate, because you're essentially what cards are going to win here. So looking at other ways to play the game that maybe are limited card sets, or not certain cards aren't available to different people, is an interesting way to kind of challenge this. But as far as this tool specifically, again, the bot conversation is a complex, multi-layered one of whackable. Once you start one thing, then it's how do we solve this next one that they ingeniously pivot to, or how do they go here, or how do they go there. And it's also not about no bots whatsoever, because I don't think that's a good stance, but it's like, where are bots available and what are the advantages that they have, because they shouldn't have advantages over human players. Everybody should be on a level playing field.
I will say that it's not an easy solution in the short term, but in the long term, I know that I personally and the creative side have given some thought to how to best propose and approach PvE, because I feel like some of these problems go away with a PvE form of gameplay, and you're less concerned about what kind of advantage the opponent has when the opponent is not another person, but you are playing for entertainment, or to solve a puzzle, or to figure some way to overcome what's in front of you. And whether or not the other person's a bot or a player or anything, just kind of like that's a non-issue. So, once we have more forms of gameplay such as that in the Splinterlands ecosystem, I'm hoping that that'll at least mitigate some of the feelings that people have in that regard.
Yeah, I'm dying to get boss fights in. Just so you guys know, I had my own boss fight. I purchased it. I'm waiting along with everybody else. But I think as we get further along in the land, and as we get these stages done, and as we knock off some of the other things on the list, we get to PvE. So there's a handful of people that are salty but still patient. Thanks for your patience. I'm jumping down to 950. Who do you think this is? Oh, I don't know what that is. All right. 951. When will Deck B be able to be used on guild buildings? I need Matt to go answer a question that's that specific. I don't know how long until Deck B goes live. Question for Nate. When Splinterlands hardback lore encyclopedia? I mean, that's already out, bro.
I think, if he's looking for a revised version, oh man, you guys are gonna like I haven't approached Aggie yet, and probably not anytime soon about like, hey, actually going to the printing press with anything. But I will say that the narrative team, what I see coming out churning out of them, which hasn't been revealed, but we do have that lore.splinterlands.com. Once we start unleashing all of this content that they have ready to go, it's going to be mind-boggling. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. And you guys, once there's enough content on that subdomain, then yeah, we could discuss it when the time comes, because I think that would be really cool. Because if for those of you who were part of the Kickstarter, got the old encyclopedia, oh man, you haven't seen nothing yet. I can't say enough good stuff about the lore that Joey and Dan are putting together as we speak.
Chico is saying, when will we have a different game mode like Arena and Hearthstone? Can be good revenue for Splinterlands if structured properly. I will just say these are discussions that are underway, and we'll, the next time that we'll see sort of what's up in the next PI quarter. We have our meeting on the 15th and 16th, I think. Let me just check the calendar. Yeah, 15th and 16th. And then shortly thereafter, I hope to get the next roadmap out. So, and then Luthien's asking when Lily Shieldpaw plushie. I think it'll be a little bit before we do the plushies again, but that's what I got for today. Thanks everybody for asking your questions. I appreciate your time. I know that there's a lot that's going on here, and I appreciate the folks that have been on the line this whole time to answer questions well into the evening or early in the morning for everyone. And I don't know, we're trying to get as much code out, get it to be sensible, get it to be the things that you guys want, and hopefully we're just building this rockstar game that is highly enjoyable, keeps you guys going, and is just part of your daily routine for years to come. So thanks everybody. Thanks for coming to the town hall. Special thanks to the special guests. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the Splinterlands. Thanks y'all.
When chaos reigns and hope is lost, when your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you. We are the Rift Watchers. Have spread far and wide, when you're out of places to